The mother of the young Moroccan Elias El-Taheri reveals in a new secrets dialogue about the killing of her son in Spain after the Almeria Public Prosecutor's Office announced the reopening of the investigation into the case of strangling the Moroccan young man, Elias El-Taheri, whose story was likened to the American George Floyd, who ignited the protests in the country of Uncle Sam. The young mother's mother went out of her silence, confirming that her son was killed. The mother, Khadija Al-Anti, said in an interview with El Diario newspaper that the video that was circulated speaks for itself and the biggest evidence that her son was killed, noting that it is not a coincidence, as she touched on the various forms of racism that her son Elias was exposed to at school or during his passage of 3 centers for minors, the last of which was the event center Terras de Uria in Almeria, Spain, where he died of suffocation in July 2019. The mother continued to tell the details of her son's life, highlighting that he was the youngest of his 5 brothers, and came to Spain to join the family. He added that her son had difficulties in school. He did not understand the Spanish language yet, she recalls. He told me that he was being mistreated because of this, and that he no longer wanted to return to school. At the age of 17, he was arrested after being involved with friends in a robbery case, and he spent a year in prison at the juvenile center on Green Island. With the passage of days, the mother says, his psychological condition deteriorated, which necessitated his transfer to a center in Córdoba, before being transferred to the event center Terras de Uria in the city of Almeria, Spain. The mother continued, he was very afraid, and he said that he was punished for no reason. She pointed out that many of the complaints the teenager sent to the court to expose what he was being subjected to remained unanswered. Recalling the tragedy of her son's death, the mother added, in the last place in which he was admitted, which is the center of Almeria, Elias El-Taheri was practically unable to see his mother. The first visit permission was granted 2 weeks before his death, but it was revoked. They told me there was a problem, she said. After the tragedy, I met other minors, and discovered that Elias had been punished that day in the basement. It was an isolation room. The day before the accident, Elias El-Taheri again insisted on seeing his mother again. She said, he had something important to tell me, but he died before revealing it. During this 2-hour interview with the mother, subject to monitoring inside the center, the young man informed his mother of all the humiliating treatment he was subjected to, and he underwent medical treatment, which caused him to gain significant weight. At the age of 18, he submitted a request to be transferred to prison to complete the rest of his sentence, where young people are treated like animals in the center, before the family was informed the day after the visit that Elias had died of a heart attack. The mother, Khadija Al-Anti, expressed her hope that the investigation will take its natural course, and that it will be fair and fair to her son, who is distinguished, and reveal the truth about his death. The case of suffocating the Moroccan youth, Elias El-Taheri, whose story is likened to the American George Floyd, who sparked the protests in America, saw a new turn, after the Office of the Public Prosecutor in Almeria announced the reopening of the investigation into the case, in response to the national campaign led by human rights, parliamentary, civil and legal activities. The Office of the Public Prosecutor in Almeria called for the continuation of the investigation into the case of George Floyd Al-Maghrabi in order to determine the nature of the responsibilities arising from the death of the 18-year-old man, who died, in July 2019, in the juvenile center Terras de Uria in the Spanish city of Almeria.